How you doing? You got a driver's license? Where's that? Where's your driver's license? Back up. You don't see the issue here? Hold on. You don't see the issue here. You're not parked across 3 lanes?
That's cool.
Yeah,
you get back in the
it's
car.
cool. $23.90. Can't get another squad here. Back up. Back up.
For what?
Are you obstructing me? I just told you to back up. I just told you to back up.
I just did.
Everything you're doing right on the camera, okay?
You touched me first. So
That's right. I told you to back up. Because you're going to try and get in the car. I'll do what I want, all right?
No,
I own this right here.
Remember when Milwaukee Bucks man Sterling Brown had a messy confrontation escalated by police?
And I just asked what you got the problem. What you mean what I mean? I said what I mean. What? Can I ask you why? I'm bothering you? I'm trying to get in touch. On what? I'm just asking you a question. No, it's tired. For what? And I can move it.
The incident took place outside of Walgreens, all because Brown was illegally parked. It would get worse. Credit to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel for posting the body cam.
Take your hands out of your pockets now!
Hold on. I got stuff in my hands.
Ground! Oh, they got a taser?
Hold on. Taser!
And this was the result. Taxpayer dollars wasted on what should have been a simple parking ticket turned into a brutal assault of a professional athlete.
Just initially, like I say, I rolled up, I was going to take a piss. I see the car parked like that. He's gone. I said, is there a reason for this? The emergency? Whatnot, you know. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, maybe he's got a medical emergency or something. He needs to get in there. And I asked her, I said, where is he? I was excited to get to me. He comes out and starts getting in my face. And I said, hey, back up. You want to do it? You know, same thing as before. If the guy hadn't been such a dick, it would have just been, hey, have a nice day, you know. But then I thought, okay, he's being an ass. He's trying to hide something.
The responding officer would share his side of the story, though it appears video evidence refuted his own words.
We heard the police department, the mayor all apologized for the actions taken by the officer there, but the police union is defending the action, saying that the use of force will never look pretty, but is unfortunately a necessary component of policing.
Of course, this was the union's response. The aftermath.
Nora, good morning to you. This is not the first time the Milwaukee Police Department has been the focus of questionable use of force. Sterling Brown now says he plans to file a lawsuit sometime next week to hopefully prevent something like this from happening again in the near future.
Our department conducted an investigation into the incident, which revealed members acted inappropriately, and those members were recently disciplined.
On Wednesday, newly appointed Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales apologized for his officers' actions in the January incident. The case has placed added pressure on a department already under scrutiny. In 2016, riots broke out after an officer shot and killed Seville Smith after a traffic stop. Smith had a gun, but in a split-second decision, an officer shot and killed him after Smith apparently tossed his weapon aside. And last year, the city settled a lawsuit for $2.3 million for the 2014 killing of Dontre Hamilton, a mentally ill man who was agitated by an officer's unlawful pat-down. The officer shot Hamilton 14 times during their altercation.
Brown would sue, and
All right, Sterling Brown approving a $750,000 settlement in a lawsuit with the city of Milwaukee after he was tased and physically brought to the ground by police over a parking violation in 2018. I'm just going to say that again. Tased, thrown to the ground. You're seeing some of the camera footage there over a parking violation. The city also pledged to admit that this was indeed a civil rights violation and to make some changes to the department's policies.
via ESPN, be approved and win a $750,000 settlement. Officer Erik Andrade, seen here, did not have initial contact with Brown, but did transport him to the station. He would later suffer the consequences of his own actions. On Facebook, Andrade wrote after seeing Brown get assaulted, quote, "Nice meeting Sterling Brown of the Milwaukee Bucks at work this morning. Laughing out loud, hashtag fear the deer." Another post would see Andrade write, "I hope J.R. Smith double parks in Walgreens handicap parking spots when he's in Milwaukee!" Exclamation point. Kevin Durant would also be made fun of in a racist post next to an ice cream cone. Andrade would repost the Bigoted meme, which was titled, "Who Wore It Better?" and captioned, "Damn, more naps than preschool, LMAO." CNN had more at the time, responding to a shared story about Brown's arrest, which tagged Andrade and said, "Let the man get his early morning craving of popcorn." Andre responded with a laughing emoji. Additionally, reports the outlet, Andrade also shared a post showing 3 pictures of black men, including Sterling Brown, that said, yes, whenever something happens, it's always an epidemic of racism, police brutality, or whatever lies these failed liberal, hand-picked, so-called liberal black leaders come up with. Above the post, Andrade wrote, "A little truth to those who want to listen." There would be more from Andrade's social media, and here it is. What comes to mind when I'm at work and I'm driving down Greenfield Ave SMH? Andrade wrote in one post, which featured a graphic that said, "Sick and tired of these blank," and featured the logo for Tide Laundry Detergent. Greenfield Ave is a prostitution hub in Milwaukee. Andrade seemed to celebrate using force in one post, saying, "Had a great time working replacement over in D5 the other day, 5+ OT and a use of force, LOL." In a May 3rd post about a man fighting with Milwaukee PD, Andrade would write, "Let's see the whole video now since people are crying police brutality and how officers are beating an innocent black man for no reason. You social media educated fools are too much sometimes." In 2018, after he was fired, the Fire and Police Commission held a vote on whether he could get his job back. The result was unanimous. The firing would be upheld. But you see, Andrade wasn't done. The Milwaukee native would fight and continue fighting to get his job back locally. And this is where WPR would have more. Andrade would file 2 lawsuits challenging his firing, one of which argued his due process rights were violated during the proceedings. The circuit court and a state appeals court upheld the termination. That is when his case was heard by the Supreme Court of the state. And this from WPR. In its 5-2 decision, the Wisconsin Supreme Court said former Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales and the Milwaukee Board of Fire and Police Commissioners gave Andrade all the process he was due under the 14th Amendment. Conservative Justice Brian Hagedorn, who sided with the court's 4 liberals, wrote the majority opinion. "We conclude the due process clause does not require a more exciting and rigid pre-termination process than what Andrade received from the AP. The court also determined that the police chief followed the law when he listed the policies that Andrade violated and referenced the Facebook posts that formed the basis for the violations. Additionally, as a whole, writes the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel's Chris Ramirez, the police department also was required to look more deeply into how it interacts with citizens, conducts field interviews, its search and seizure policy, arrest authority, personnel investigation, use of force policy, and body cameras use." Several cops were suspended and others were retrained after an internal investigation. Brown, currently 29 years of age, is not in the National Basketball Association. He is playing overseas in the Bundesliga with a club called Alba Berlin. He is averaging about 11 points per game this season. I will say this is just one individual within a police department that let the mask off publicly because he flew way too close to the sun. There have been unearthed audio recordings. You could even Google the Wilmington PD firing 3 police officers. And then there was also another incident just post George Floyd being unalived by Derek Chauvin, where there were 2 members of a local police precinct in the state of Georgia who were also caught on a body cam that the officer thought he turned off but did not. What we would like to see is, first off, using the funding that these police precincts get across the country, taking that out of the equation, investing in local communities. That is always number one. Number 2 is having more oversight, which is something that the unions and others continue to this day to fight tooth and nail so they can get away with these injustices. I hope in some fashion that this is shedding light that, first off, you have to be super dumb to continue to post stuff like this and gloat over the suffering that you are putting onto the citizens that you are supposed to serve and protect. The second is, I really hope that Sterling Brown has found some peace through all of this. However, there were more officers on the scene, not just this guy. So there's that.